Welcome to the fourth episode of 8 Hours Later with the Stream Queen. My name is Just E, and the E stands for Ellen. You may know my voice from another podcast I do with my hubby Paul, named E Says, P Says. Currently, we are on a little hiatus due to Paul convalescing, and we are building our show listing. Thankfully, Paul is on the mend, and we are getting back into the swing of things, which includes recording. That said, I have gone solo to create a few podcasts that deal with some interests outside of marriage and relationships. This being the first one, where I discuss my love of television by blaming Netflix, LOL. I'll also discuss my love of British crime dramas and my general love of crime TV. This will also include my enjoying vintage TV and the plethora of other streaming categories I enjoy. I'll also share my TV streaming history and how I track the many shows I like. So let's begin. Close the doors, grab a snack, and let me know what you think. If you are if you are new here, hello and welcome. To catch up, last week I discussed being inspired by finding my mentor and listening to an episode of his podcast, How to Podcast, where he interviewed Yusef Marshall about being an introvert. I also discussed some shows I have been catching up on the current season of The Rookie on ABC and Hulu because I like to pause on newer programming so I can get at least two or more episodes in the queue. That way, I can continue binging and not have to wait weekly for the next episode. And I know you're waiting to hear about my take on the next episodes of The Gilded Age, and I'm working on it. What happens is I get caught up in a newly recommended show or try to catch up on some current TV shows, or something new will catch my eye and I'm off in another direction. But I will definitely get back to it because it will be exciting to see how the sister dynamic has changed with Ada and Agnes, since Agnes's son Oscar has been scammed out of their fortune, and Ada's brief marriage to the Reverend has left her unexpectedly wealthy. There's also the budding relationship of Martin and Larry, of Marion and Larry, how hopefully third time is a charm because that social climber lawyer from her hometown did her so wrong. I didn't share any vintage TV since I've been engulfed with recommendations and catching up for the coming new TV season. I also did not have a pet peeve, but I just shared some gratitude for being able to impart my love of TV and all things streaming with you. If you need help keeping track with TV and movie viewing, check out the app TV Time. I found it in the App Store around 2019. All you have to do is search for the show that you're interested in tracking, add it to your queue, and the app does the rest. It will also alert you when a new episode of a show is available, and that's if it's a newer show. Check it out. Now, to the show this week, Sherlock and Daughter. And and let me just say that Sherlock Holmes may have been when my love of British crime began. However, I have never read Arthur Conan Doyle's books. I love the Sherlock Holmes character though, and I truly love what every actor brings to each iteration of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. There is even a current TV series on CBS called Watson about the doctor that had the relationship with Holmes. In this series, there was an accident where Holmes is presumed dead and Watson has a brain injury and can't remember what happened. Once Watson returns home, he opens a hospital and works with his estranged wife on strange and unusual medical cases. And of course, the lead actor is Morris Chestnut. So, how can you not watch? And that brings us to Sherlock and Daughter. I found this show when I was going through HBO Max in the recommended for me area. It also plays on the CW, Amazon, YouTube, and the Roku channel. I couldn't wait to see it once I saw the title. I was like, what does this new creation hold? Because in the Sherlock Holmes series, Sherlock on the BBC channel, you see Watson get married and have children, but regardless of the iteration of the Sherlock story, he has a woman in his life, but he is never in anything serious. So you always wonder, well, I did, does Sherlock have children? And if he does, would he claim them? Well, Sherlock and Daughter answers most of those questions. The series starts with Amelia Rojas leaving America after her mother is killed while someone is looking for some treasure or item that she has hidden only for her daughter to find. Once Amelia finds her mother deceased, she goes to whatever secret place they discuss and locates money and information to find her father in England, Sherlock. Of course, Sherlock has no idea Amelia exists. So the first 8 installments of the series have Amelia and Sherlock solving a case which indirectly deals with information her mother has given her. As they work the case, they get to know each other, and Amelia lets Sherlock know she is his daughter. Of course, him being Sherlock Holmes, he doesn't believe it because there have been many claims of him having children before, and it wasn't true. So, as the case they are trying to solve comes to a close, he and Amelia finally discuss the story her mom shared with her about how they met. As Amelia is going through the story, Sherlock starts to see some clues which may mean that Amelia really is his daughter. And that is where it all ends. I can't wait till the next season to see what the relationship for Amelia and Sherlock holds. I really enjoyed the chemistry between Sherlock and Amelia. It was nice to see him work with a young adult and try to be protective, in quotes, of her, only for her to act just like him, following leads and having her own near death experience, where after these would occur, he would show up to save her in the end. Whether he believes this is his daughter or not, he has to see some of him in her and has the fatherly instinct to secure her safety. So, if that interests you, catch up on Sherlock and Daughter before the next season begins. As I said, you can find it on HBO Max, a Roku channel, YouTube, the CW, and Amazon Prime. So what you watching? Currently, I am watching the Inspector Lindley's Mysteries. It is also on the BBC. It has 6 seasons and is another British crime drama. The twist on this one is that Lindley is an earl and doesn't have to work, but he chooses to work to give back and becomes a police officer where he has worked his way up to an detective and a detective inspector. And if that isn't enough, he is paired with a detective sergeant that is loud and obnoxious that no one wants to work with. LOL. And no one wants to work with him either because he grasped on some of his previous coworkers and caused them to lose their jobs and get demoted. Grasped is the English term for snitch. So they make quite the pair. Though they do not become a love match, they do become friends and share in each other's lives as they move through the seasons solving crimes. In one of the episodes, a child, Barbara, the detective sergeant becomes attached to, is thrown overboard on a yacht in the midst of a chase as part of them solving a crime about smuggling. The child is thrown over by her quote unquote uncle, who is the smuggler. The detective in charge of the case will not stop the yacht, so Barbara uses a flare gun to stop her so she can gain control of the yacht and turn around to save Lindley and the child. Yes, Inspector Lindley jumped in to save the child, and they are in the ocean. This is not a pool, they're in the ocean. So if Barbara didn't get control of the yacht, it's very possible that they both would have drowned. So once they save the child and Lindley, they return to shore, and of course, the police officer in charge is not happy about this at all. So, of course, in the next season, Barbara is demoted back to uniform because of this action. And in Lindley's special way, he manages to get her on the case he is working, which ends up being a cover up of a murder that includes some of the police officers they work with. And in the next episode, the new officer in charge restores her rank. It so happened that the previous officer was removed because of the investigation Lindley and Havers, Barbara's last name, did. If you want to check out this series, it's on Prime Video with a BritBox subscription. The episodes I discussed above are episodes 1 and 2 of season 4. So start from season 1 and let me know what you think. I'm also rewatching Unforgotten, another British another British crime drama on Prime Video with a PBS subscription. And don't forget to support PBS with a subscription or by a donation because once again, they're coming after public television, which has provided so many educational and informational programs for adults and children throughout the years. Let us not forget Sesame Street, Electric Company, Zoom, Teletubbies, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Wishbone, and so on and so on. That said, Unforgotten deals with cold cases. Think you have gotten away with it? Shaking my head. No, you didn't. Here comes D.I. Cassie and D.S. Sunny to solve the crime. And they dedicate a whole season to one. So you get to watch people's lives change and fall apart because of a murder or crime that took place in their younger years. Check out the first season where detectives find a body in an older building, and as they try to figure out what happened, they uncover an embezzling vicar. Who knew? Come to find out, he had sex in his 20s with a teen who got pregnant and kept the baby, and he was using the money to support the child and mother through the years. Family and career, boom. And that is just one casualty. And that is just one casualty. There is an ex-skinhead who is now married to a black man, and an ex-thug who is now a sir and a legitimate wealthy man. Have I got your attention? Check it out. If you are watching any of these shows, let me know what you think by leaving a comment on Mock Media Group on Facebook or one of the platforms you listen to podcasts, and let me know what you're watching. Also, Unforgotten is currently running, so there are 6 seasons, and the 6th season has just been released. The mysteries of Inspector Lindley is has ended, and there are only 6 seasons available of that. So now a pet peeve: timeliness. I guess I'm getting payback because time meant nothing to me when I was younger. Now my younger son has taken it to the next level. That boy is hours upon hours late. We cook dinner at home and say we're eating at 6, and he gets there at 8. We eat out and say dinner is at 7. He shows up at 8. What do we do? I told the hubby from now on, let's say that dinner or the reservation is an hour or so earlier, so he will be on time because we be hungry. And when we are home, he wants to stay late. One day, they were here till 3 o'clock in the morning. And let me say, I enjoy spending time with my kids. It is an absolute joy to see your little people become adults you hope that they would be. I'm just a little tired. I've been cooking, cleaning, and prepping, and now I'm ready for a little rest. Hopefully, we will figure it out. Thankfully, he is on time for work. So, subscribe to 8 Hours Later with the Stream Queen on any platform you listen to your podcast. You can also catch up on episodes from E Says, P Says, so you can be ready when we release new episodes. You can check out all things Mock on our website, mockmediagroup.com. Want to do more? Support by buying a cup of coffee at buymeacoffee.com/mockmedia. Thanks for listening. The doors are now open. Go about your day with joy and let me know what you're watching.